Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Gonna keep moving forward on this. Kind of surprised. It's been sitting out here and it's right where we left it. Nobody got in here and helped. All right. So we got to do our other piston ring. We got to fit it. Told you guys I'd show you how we were going to do that and get our head back together. Coil Motor Works was nice enough. He volunteered to make us another set of valves. And as much as that's a fantastic offer, I want to clean these up and we're going to lap them in. We got some, just valve lapping compound, coarse and fine. We're going to lap them and we'll see how well that works first. So, we got build up on these. So I'll go over and set these in the lathe, just polish that crud off of there. And yeah, they'll clean up. So I'll get that done, come back and we'll start assembling that head. Then we'll lap them in. Well, I got our valves cleaned up. That looks much, much, much better. We can see a little bit better how they're made now. And just kind of an odd shaped valve. So I'm going to take our rocker arm here off. And this poor little pin vise is sure getting a workout, but it'll work out just fine. We'll grab the end of our valve, grab this with our cordless drill, put some lapping compound on there, and we'll lap it. And get this off of here. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, let me get this model pushed back out of the way a little bit. Get you guys where you can see what's going on a little better. So we got this apart now, and this is going to be our intake valve here, and this is our exhaust valve. So what I'm going to do, our intake valve is going to go on right here, and push this forward a little bit. You guys can't see any of this. Let me get you guys situated better. This ain't fair to you. There, is that a little bit better? All right, we'll pop the cap off of our valve grinding compound here, or lapping compound. This isn't grinding compound. This is the fine side, and it's like a really gritty toothpaste, which is what we want. Take our valve. We're just going to put a little bit right where our sealing surface is going to be. That's a whole bunch more than we need. It'll be fine. Drop our valve down inside of our head. And keep it off of our guide. And you guys listen. That might just do it just by doing this. What I'm doing is I'm pulling this way on the valve to keep it seated. And all we're doing is just truing both of these surfaces up to one another. Just turn it back and forth a little bit. We'll get these surfaces trued up together. Pull it out, we'll see what we got. Well, here it is after we did both of them. And you can see we've got a shiny face here, a shiny face there. And I think this is going to be a whole lot better. If it fails, well, Coil Motor Works, guess what, buddy? I will be getting a hold of you, and we'll see about getting a set of valves made. But until then, we'll kind of give these a go. We'll see how it pans out. I don't know that we were losing much of our compression through the valves as much as we were the rings, but we'll do everything at once, and hopefully this thing will last for a long time, for years to come, and we won't have to dig back into it. All right, let me shut up and get this stuff all put back together. All right, you guys are right up close and personal now. So maybe this will show up. You guys can see what we're doing. So this piston ring, just a little bit too big. We've got no end gap. I noticed on that last one, I couldn't really show you. Let me turn this edge a little bit. It just starts in there. See this lip? Yeah, that's not going to fly. So what we're going to do, get this ring out of here. We'll take a small, just needle file. I'll grab these, and what we're going to do is we're going to open this gap up a little bit on both sides. Slide this back in, and we're going to check our end gap with just a feeler gauge. 5/1000 end gap. Might be a little bit too much, but it's got to be a heck of a lot better than what it was. You get this guy pushed out of the way. I'll show you how I'm going to hold this in there. Alright, well here's a setup. Just a pair of Milwaukee sheet metal vice grips. We're going to grab these, just like that. You see that ring in there? I'm just going to take this little needle file. Normally I'd do this in the bench vise, but you guys wouldn't be able to see it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to, this is going to be a time-consuming process. Let's sit here and run this back and forth. You guys see how that's shiny? Maybe. Versus this side here is not shiny. Just that little bit. I mean, this is a time-consuming process, and stupid me, I only bought one set of rings when I was over there to see Paul, but can't get it too big too fast. We can always make that gap wider. It's going to be a bear of a time making it smaller again. I'll keep filing at this, and then we'll set it in there, and we'll check end gap. I don't know if you guys can see, it's a little pile of filings right there. That's what we've taken off both sides of this so far. Let me get this engine turned around. We're going to see what we got for end gap. We might have to take more off. Like I said, we're just going to sneak up on this. Let me get that engine over here. Alright. Not enough glare. I can try harder. I'll try and put this someplace where you guys can see that end gap. It's over there now. What we're going to do is we're just going to start this ring in here. And I can see a gap in there. If you guys be able to see that, probably not. We got a gap right there. Let's see what we got. We're shooting for 5/1000. And that passes through. So we know we have 5/1000 of ring gap. We're flush, so we know our ring isn't cocked. That's one thing that you gotta keep in mind when you do this, is these ends, you want them to be parallel with one another. You can't have one, going on an angle like that and the other one, like this. You want them to be flat across when they touch. See how they line up? Even though they're not touching. I mean, if you've got them, all sorts of cattywampus, at 5/1000, you're not going to get a good measurement. So, pull you guys back out and get this engine turned. And, yeah. Well, how about that? We can just keep going this way. We'll fit our piston ring onto our piston. Cross your fingers we don't snap it. These are nice and flexible rings, so I think we'll be fine. Yeah, it dropped right in there. And another thing is, don't have your end gaps lined up. You want them opposite each other. Kind of confuse that compression a little bit so it can just shoot right past it. Very nice. Okay. Well, I had that piece of 1/4-inch brass stock up there and needed to make a way to fit our oiler. Had a hell of a time drilling that out. So here we go. That's spun down. It's tapped 1032. It made this little collar here. That way, if we need to, for some reason, if this oiler fouls up and we've got a hopper full of water, we want to be able to take this off of there and not get water down in our cylinder. So there. Doesn't look too bad, does it? I think it'll be all right. And while I was in there spinning around on the lathe, I had that brass stock. This is our wrist pin. This is a chunk of tool steel. It's hard as can be. And there's a little bit. You can see it, how it's shiny. I think that piston pin migrated to one side or the other. If that set screw lets loose, or comes loose, this pin can move side to side. And, you know, it's not captured in our piston. It can move that way too. So if that comes over to the side and we start rubbing it up and down our cylinder wall, it's going to make for a bad day. And so I spun this out of brass. Brass is, you know, not near as hard as that steel liner in there. And we are recessed on both sides. And if it does happen to move, try and shove that over for you. If it does try to move over, you guys can pick that up. But I radius these edges, smooth them over. So that was just kind of preventative measures. Let's get our piston put back on our rod. And oh, I gotta drill that yet and put our grease cup on there. Well, I guess that's what we'll do next. Might as well do that before we shove it in. And yeah, all right, guys, I'll get things moved back. We'll keep going on this. Okay, I've got our rod cap here. I did drill it and tap it. And this is 836. And this will fit well, our little grease cup here on the end. So there you go. You know, then our cap will screw on there. That's what's going to force the grease into the big end down here. So see how that works? Just like that. All right, well, we can leave our cap off. Might as well go ahead and, guys, let's put this piston in. I'd like to do on, at least finish up tonight for me, is I'd like to get this in and get the head on. Just see what we have for compression. So, all right. Get this lined up. You know what? I'm going to wipe this cylinder out one more time just to be safe. Don't want any issues. So give me a second. I'll wipe that out. There, pull that all the way through. Now we know that that bore's good and clean. We'll put just a little bit of oil on this piston so we're not putting it in dry. Make sure our orientation of our rings are correct. They are across from each other. We'll get him started down in here. Yeah. What I was going to use on this is a hose clamp just around these, but I think I'm going to try and just walk them in by hand just to be safe. And these are not huge rings, so they shouldn't put up too much of an argument. There went the one. Get this corner here started in, walk the rest of the way around. It's hard to do this and keep my hands out of your guys' way. Dang it. There. Piston's in, guys. Let's get back here to the back end. We'll line up our rod. Let's see what we got going on there. Probably not. How's that? There we go. All right, let me get my rod cap mounted. We'll get it set back where you guys can see what's going on. The connecting rod is in, guys, and turns nice. I think we'll be okay. Now, some of you guys, well, I don't know. One of you had asked what the displacement was on this. We know it's 1 1/8 bore. We're going to see what our stroke is. So I'm all the way down at bottom dead center now. It's 2 inches from top of our head mounting surface 2.4 thousandths. I'll run this up and see where it stops. Right there. And we're at a 1/2 inch. So it's an 1.5 inch bore, 1 1/8 stroke, or sorry, 1 1/8 bore, 1.5 inch stroke. Let me figure out what that is for displacement. With an 1 1/8 bore and an 1.5 inch stroke, that comes out to 1.49 cubic inches and about 24.5 cc. So that's what size this is. So just going off the bore and stroke. And I'm not going to be able to tell you what the compression ratio is. So I'm sorry, guys, don't ask. Can't help you. All right, let me get our head studs put back in here. And let's get our head mounted. Let's see if we finally have some compression in this old girl. Head studs in, gasket down, and now let's see if we can get this to slide back up into place. Get our push rod in its spot. I'm tripping all over my tongue tonight, guys. I don't know what's going on. It's starting. Sorry about the camera. So that's going down. I'll get our fuel line lined up. I don't know how much of this you guys are going to be able to watch or how much I leave in. Well, take its head off again. Put that stud in too deep. See that? Got nothing right there. So, all right. Okay, take 2 on this. I had this stud in too far. So, all right. Let's see if it'll go this time. We got enough meat hanging out. Get our push rod lined up through the hole. Get these all lined up straight. We have so many things to line up all at once to get them to go. There. Almost. Oh, here. I guess I'll show you this first. So I did put oil down in our cylinder. You can see. There. And it is oiled all the way around. So, all right. Now I'll put the head on here. Everything lining up. Get back a little bit, and then I'll get our fuel line hooked to our mixer here. There we go. There. Now then, we'll draw this down the rest of the way. Yep. Perfect. Get our head nuts on. That'll be the moment of truth, guys. The head is reassembled, reinstalled. We're tightened down. I haven't tried to roll it over. Let's see what we got. That's disappointing as hell. Got nothing. Okay. All right. Let's try this again after putting the cylinder head gasket back on in the same orientation as it came off. It's a whole lot better. Well, I know we're not done yet, guys. I still got to drill and tap these here, to put our grease zerks in, or our grease cups in for our mains. But, tell you what, let's put the muffler back on it. I'll get the power supply fired up. I'm going to throw some voltage at it, and compression isn't up where I think it ought to be yet, but it is so much better than it was. And I know that these rings have not even come close to seating in. So All right, let me get busy on that power supply, getting juice hooked up back here to the backside. Should still have fuel in it. Guess we'll find out. Okay, our leads are hooked up. We're at 6 volts. I'll roll it, check for buzz. Okay, we know we still have fire. Get this situated where I can turn that mixer on. We have fuel up to it. Hang on, let me move you guys. There, how's that? A little better? I got a little bit more better. Maybe. Okay. Try again. We do have good hot fire. I pulled that plug out. It's good. So, I'm not sure if we're just not getting enough fuel up to it yet or what. But well, it ran like shit, but it ran better than it did now. All right, I'll keep monkeying with it. Yeah. Okay. So what I've come up with, I've tried, guys, and I'm not 100% sure which engine that came with, but yeah, saves the thumb a lot. I'll show you what we've got, and leave me a comment underneath what you think the problem is. Okay, here we go. Did you guys hear that right when it quit? Let me turn it around sideways. Look at the inside. You hear that? Well, let me turn the power off. You hear it draw in. And hear it when I turn it. Maybe you guys can see down in there. I don't know. Probably a bad angle. Okay, now listen. You hear that hissing? It was my fault, guys. I think 5 thousandths, ring gap was too much. So, well, it does run. Don't run no better than it did. Might run, a little bit better, but it ain't right. So I did order another set of piston rings from dbolt.com, and I guess we're waiting for them. So sorry, guys. We did get to hear it run. Still ain't right. So that's my fault. No fault of the engine or the parts we put in. I screwed them up. Figured that 5 thousandths, that's plenty. Look at a small block Chevy or something like that. You've got 8 times as many pistons in there working, and you've got the rings are tapered. Yeah, my fault, guys. I'm a little bit frustrated and upset at myself, but we'll get the economy running again. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry that it turned out like this, but yeah, see, I mean, I'm still learning too. So, all right, well, if you guys aren't subscribed and you wouldn't mind, it helps me a lot. Click right here. We'll see you guys as soon as I get some rings in. All right, thanks again for watching.